one thing you definitely got to do when you're playing any kind of shape or mode or scale, and you're in between strings and you're transferring from one string to the next, is obviously practice is going to make it better. You're going to lock it into your muscle memory, and you're going to make it so that it becomes tacit. And then of course you can start doing things that are outside of speed bursts, right? We're not always trying to play fast. We can, slow it down and make it melodic. Not like that. Then I want to do a little something like that. Not my best playing in the world, but just you want to be able to kind of a little bit fast, a little bit slow, a little bit fast, like medium speed, fast speed. Not everything's got to be a race, right? Not everything's got to be a race. But when you want to go fast, when you want to burst into a really cool, lick, then you want to be able to play, right? You don't want to be stiff and not be able to play. So one of the best things to do is, of course, practice. Like I've showed you lots of practice techniques in previous lessons where you can go ahead and make things faster and faster and faster. But at the same time, you've got to work on body mechanics. All right, one of those is relaxing. And that's hard for a lot of players. Like some players just magically have it. Okay, like if you go back, I know what happened to Jason Becker was tragic, but if you go back and you watch him when he used to be on stage and he used to have a yo-yo. You ever see that video? He had a yo-yo and he was playing with the yo-yo while he was, and I mean, what I'm doing right there is incredibly awful compared to what he did. But that confidence, and I think he was in his teens, right? That confidence right there is not something every guitar player is going to have. If you got it, thumbs up, right? Make a video for me. I'd love to see, what gives you that confidence, what gives you that passion to get that good. But, he was able to do it. And there's a lot of other players, your big guys, right? Your Steve Vais, your Paul Gilberts, your John Petrucci's. They're masters of their craft, and they look like they're always in the moment when they're playing. Like there is no tension there. There's no it's professional level, right? That's exactly what it is. So to get there, just like with anything in life, you got to be confident about it. You got to be good at it. And practicing gets you there, okay? But to get that confidence, you can't have that tension. And you got to be loose about everything. And I used to practice martial arts. And that's one of the things I noticed about martial arts as well. And I used to skateboard as well. And that's one of the things I noticed about that also is that pretty much anything you do, you got to have that, devil may care attitude about it. It's just, I'm going to go into this and I'm just going to play what I want to play. And even if you mess up, it's still really cool, and I don't know what the secret to that is. I don't really know. I just know that I don't want to be tight here. I don't want to be tight here. I want to keep everything nice and loose. There's some stretches that you could do to make everything feel better. I've got these things called these Chinese Baoding balls. I like these two metal balls. I hold in my hand. I'll flip them around like this, and it helps my wrist and everything and my arm loosen up a little bit. I do Qigong and Tai Chi. I try to stay loose. I, meditate sometimes, not as much as I probably should. They say that you need to meditate for 20 minutes a day. You ever heard that one? You need to meditate for 20 minutes a day. If you can't meditate for 20 minutes a day, then you need to meditate for an hour a day, right? Because you need to get it in. You need to find the time. And you may not want to meditate. I don't know. I'm not trying to give any spiritual advice or anything. I'm just saying that there's things that you can do to loosen yourself up. One person I talked to uses a Rubik's Cube. They like to play with a Rubik's Cube, and it keeps their fingers nimble. I think that's kind of cool. Everyone kind of finds their own path. Sometimes it's just practice. Sometimes it's just sitting down and doing stuff like this, right? and that just little shape right there is a 4th string, 3rd string at the 6th fret, 7th fret, the 9th fret. Then go to the 3rd string and play the 6th fret, and then go back down the 4th string. Then go back up, play the whole thing, the whole 6 notes right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And stuff like that may be what you need. You find little shapes like that, you practice them. And you practice them over and over again with fidelity to the point where you get them to where your hand sync is really good and you can take it across strings. And I think I learned that from Paul Gilbert. Somebody was saying that Joe Petrucci does that too. But that kind of little lick, right, it comes from years of experience, right? And I've learned to change picks. I've learned to get picks that are thicker with, points that don't grip the strings as much. There's just all kinds of things that you got to play with if you want to get faster and you want to get better at your playing. But if you like this kind of stuff, then I do have a free course out there that really shows you how to kind of lock things in on the fretboard, understand the fretboard code and how it's a circular thing and shapes repeat. And it's okay to practice speed, but you got to know what scales you're practicing. You got to know what shapes you're practicing. That's what I teach over at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. So be sure to check that out.